Give me 15 minutes and I'll show you how to actually 10x your productivity with ChatGPT Atlas. This is one of the most underrated AI tools right now, and most people still haven't even discovered it. Over the last several months, this has genuinely changed how I work day to day. I love Chrome, but there are a lot of things that I can get done in ChatGPT Atlas, which makes me want to move a lot of my workflow to ChatGPT Atlas. Quick note before we start, this video is not sponsored by OpenAI in any way. This is just a tool which I genuinely love and I want people to use it because I've seen how much of productivity gains it has given me. In fact, I even created a carousel recently breaking down my use cases for ChatGPT Atlas, and the team at OpenAI reshared it on their LinkedIn page, which was a really nice validation that these workflows are genuinely useful. Okay, now this is what I want you to know. By the end of this video, you're going to walk away with 10 very specific use cases that you can start using today, the exact prompts for each one, and a simple mental model for turning ChatGPT Atlas from something that feels like a cool demo into something that you can genuinely use every single day. And everything that I'm going to show you here is not going to be theoretical, it is actually how I use ChatGPT Atlas. See, there are a lot of AI productivity videos out there, and most of them give you very surface level ideas. This is not that. Atlas is actually something that moves the needle, especially when you're working across multiple tools, tabs, and constantly doing context switching. Now, if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm Aishwarya Srinivasan. I've spent over a decade working in machine learning and AI. I have a master's in data science from Columbia University, and I've worked at companies like Microsoft, Google, and IBM. And currently, I'm co-founding the Gen Academy, and we are on a mission to upskill the next generation of AI builders and make you a top 0.1% of an AI professional. So before we jump into the use cases, let me give you a little bit of context about the tool. ChatGPT Atlas is essentially a browser-native AI workspace, aka Chrome. Instead of you going to ChatGPT, copying things and switching tabs and coming back, Atlas sits directly into your browser and works alongside with you for everything that you're doing. It can read the page that you're on, it can understand your open tabs, it can connect to tools like Canva, Figma, etc., interact with your files, remember what you worked on, and run custom GPTs along with saved prompts and do scheduled workflows. See, this is the shift that we're seeing right now. You don't need separate AI tools for different tasks. It needs to be in an ecosystem and it needs to become part of your working environment. Okay, now let's go into the actual workflows and the use cases that I wanted to talk to you about. The first one is about research. Most people still do research the old way. You open 5 to 10 different tabs, skim through each one, try to extract key points, and then forget half of what you read. With Atlas, you don't have to do that anymore. You just need to stay on the page that you're already reading and then just say that summarize this page with 5 key points. That's it. Atlas reads that full page, understands the context, and gives you a clean, structured summary right there. I use this constantly for my blogs, for my workshops, for my competitor analysis, or even just long articles that someone needs to send you on Slack that you just don't have time to read. The most important thing to note here is you're not just moving across different tools. You're compressing where the information lies and your actual AI intelligence in the same space. Now, the second use case is something that I think almost everyone needs, which is managing tab chaos. If you're like me, I'm sure you also have 500 tabs open, working on multiple different projects, and your browser turns into a mess very quickly. So instead of manually organizing these tabs, you can just go tell Atlas, group my open tabs by project and close anything that I haven't read for the last week. It restructures your workflow automatically. See, I have a lot of tabs which has just been open for weeks, but somehow I don't want to close them. So I can let AI handle that task. I usually do this at the start of the week. It gives me a clean mental reset. And I don't waste time trying to remember where things are. Now, the third use case is writing. Let's say that you're writing an email, a LinkedIn post, or a Slack message. Normally, you would copy your text into ChatGPT, rewrite it, and then paste it back. But with Atlas, you can just highlight the text right there and add your prompt to ChatGPT, and it automatically changes it there. It might sound simple, but it completely removes the friction of jumping between tabs. The fourth use case is going to be useful for product managers, tech leads, or anybody working with planning documents. If you have a product spec or a requirement doc open, instead of manually breaking it down, you can use a custom GPT. For example, I have built something called as a Sprint Planner GPT. And the prompt that I use is use my Sprint Planner GPT to convert this document into a 2-week sprint plan with tasks, owners, and timelines. Within minutes, I get a structured plan. What used to take multiple meetings and back and forth conversations now becomes a single step. Okay, now the fifth use case is content creation, specifically designing LinkedIn carousels. This one genuinely changed how I create content. You connect Atlas to Canva and say something like design a 5-slide carousel titled How I Boost My Productivity with ChatGPT Atlas using navy blue color and white theme. Atlas generates the slides directly through Canva. You don't have to do any back and forth copy paste. And then you can go to Canva and edit the fonts, tweak your layouts, or refine anything that you need. But you don't have to generate anything on Canva from scratch. Now the biggest benefit here is the flow. Earlier what I used to do is do that brainstorming on ChatGPT, copy some of that content, start from scratch on Canva, and then make those edits. Now I can do the ideation and the automation for generating these Canva slides within Atlas, which saves a lot of my time. AI video generation just completely changed how I think about filming my courses. I used to spend so much time re-recording, not because I didn't know what to say, but because something small changed in the course. A slide update or a better explanation or a new example, and suddenly I'm back sitting in front of a camera. I've actually been using HeyGen for almost 2 years now. So I've seen it evolve from their very first avatar to Avatar 4, which I genuinely thought was peak. And then they dropped Avatar 5. And yes, they completely proved me wrong. I tried their Avatar 5 recently and it still feels very unreal. I just recorded a single 15-second clip of myself and that's it. From there, I can generate full lessons, update sections of my video or create short form content without setting up my camera again. What I like is that it still feels like me. The voice, the expressions and the overall presence are intact. But now I can change the formats, tweak parts of the video, or experiment with different versions without starting from scratch. So if you are like me, building courses, tutorials, or even trying to be consistent with your YouTube content, this honestly changes the game. You can move faster, iterate without friction, and create more without that constant filming overhead. One thing I also appreciate is that they've been very thoughtful about consent and ownership. Your avatar is verified, your content stays yours, and it is not going to be used to train public models. If you've been thinking about scaling your content without burning yourself out, it's definitely worth trying HeyGen's digital twin with Avatar 5. Okay, now the sixth use case is working with data. If you've ever spent time cleaning spreadsheets, creating pivot tables, or trying to generate insights manually, you're going to appreciate this one. So all you need to do is just upload your data set and say, show my revenue versus cost by region and highlight where margins dropped. Atlas analyzes the data, generates charts, and gives you a very clear explanation of what is happening. It is like having a data analyst sitting right next to you, but without the overhead of setting up everything manually. Now, the seventh use case is something that I use a lot while I'm traveling. Instead of opening multiple tabs across booking platforms, you can simply say, find me 4-star hotels in Austin near the convention center under $250 between December 10th and 12th. Atlas searches in real time and surfaces options directly in the chat. You can compare, filter, and even book without leaving the workspace. This removes a surprising amount of friction from something that we keep doing frequently. Now, the eighth use case is memory. This is probably the most underutilized feature. If memory is enabled, Atlas keeps track of what you've been working on and what you've explored in the past. So let's say you ask something like, summarize what I read about AI regulation last week. It actually pulls from your past sessions. You don't have to search again in your Chrome history. You don't have to remember where you read something. The system remembers that for you. Over time, you realize that Atlas is less of a tool and more of a collaborator that actually understands your context. Now, the ninth use case is automating your weekly wrap-up. Most people end the week trying to reconstruct what they worked on. Instead, you can set up a scheduled task on Atlas. Something like every Friday at 9 a.m., summarize my open tabs into an action list and email it to me. You can connect this with your email or tools like Zapier. Now, your weekly reviews become automatic. You spend your time reviewing insights instead of gathering them. Now, the 10th and most powerful use case is building your own custom GPT. This is where Atlas really starts to feel like an extension of how you think. I have a bunch of different custom GPTs which I had been using on ChatGPT. But now when I have access to all of those GPTs inside my browser, it just changes my game. For example, I have built this GPT called Daily Focus Coach. Every morning, it asks me for my top 3 priorities, and throughout the day, I update what I've completed. In the evening, it gives me a short reflection on what are the pending tasks and what I need to do tomorrow. So if you want to build your own custom GPT as well, you can just go to create, select new GPT, define the behavior of what you want it to do, and optionally connect it to tools like your calendar, notes, or anything else you need. Then every day, you just need to say, run my daily focus coach. And it becomes part of your routine. Unknowingly, it's going to make you super productive. Now, there's a bonus use case that I wanted to give you on something that I recently tried out, and I want to share that with you. I'm going to be organizing 2 AI meetups, one in San Francisco and one in New York, on 5th of May and 9th of May respectively. So I had to create a Luma page, and I was very bored to create one from scratch. So I just thought, let me see if Atlas can actually do it for me. So what I did is I opened my Google Doc, copied the agenda, and then I went to Luma, logged in, of course you have to do that, and then just asked Atlas to create that Luma page for me. It did the whole thing without me actually clicking on fields and making those changes. See, that's the kind of productivity I want to instill in you. These 10 or 11 use cases is just giving you some ideas, but I want to start using Atlas and try to figure out what these productivity use cases are for you and tell me about it. I would love to explore what these use cases you found. At the end of the day, I really want people to adopt AI tools because it is going to be as basic as learning how to use computers. Okay, now if this video made you think about building real AI workflows and not just using them casually, I want to tell you a little bit more about Gen Academy. We run a live cohort-based program called Mastering Agentic AI Systems Certifications. Every single week, you're going to go deep into the technical depth of building AI systems along with actually doing hands-on projects. If you're an AI builder, let's say for example, software engineer or AI engineer, you're going to be doing code-heavy projects. But if you're a non-builder AI professional, like a product manager or a product marketing manager or working in GTM or sales, you will still be building stuff using low-code and no-code tools. And the thing that I'm most excited about is we're actually collaborating with some of the top companies like NVIDIA, Nebius, Llama Index, LangChain, AG2, Pinecone, and more to bring in some of their top experts into our course and get you free access to tools. Something to note here is if your company has a learning and development budget, this is usually covered by them. So on the Maven page, you can actually download the letter which you can submit to your manager and get reimbursed for the course. I've also added a special discount for my YouTube viewers in the description. And if you're new to my channel and you enjoyed this video, please do subscribe to my channel. I share content on AI systems, career growth, and what it really looks like to build in this space. Okay, then start using ChatGPT Atlas and tell me how it goes. I'll see you in the next one.